Education, Laurie Kilmartin.
Recording in progress, Laurie Kilmartin. We're
Hello,
recording. Good morning.
Jacqueline.
I am well rested and
Mhm.
thus ready to wax on and wax off about stand-up comedy.
I thought you were
Ow.
gonna wax poetic.
I thought about it, and then I thought, don't raise the bar. Don't give yourself a goal you may not hit. I have barely done any stand-up this week, but I did get to see. I picked up a set. I think it must have been Tuesday or Wednesday, because Bamford did James Corden.
It was such a great set.
Oh my gosh, such a great set. Go to the Late Late Show James Corden YouTube and watch Maria Bamford do a set that initially she was told was a little too dark, and then she offered another set, and they were like, that's actually darker. So we're going to go with the first set.
I love them. They're really cool about stuff, you know?
So cool about stuff. And she was so psyched. She was nervous, like you get before you do a TV set. She was like, and I said, I can't even tell you how comfortable James Corden makes it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He really does.
And they're putting on a lot of women, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
was it Kimberly Clark who was just on?
Oh, she did it already?
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, cool. I knew she was in the pipipeline. I didn't know she already did. Okay, we got to find it. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty awesome, and it just makes me again angrier at Letterman, because they could have been doing this, you know?
Right. Any number of, and it's late, and it's 12:30, and someone was telling me, they were like, he should be edgier, and I was like, it's not your show. Fuck off. Just because it's 12:30 doesn't mean he has to be all set. I mean, if people who have insomnia would like to be cheered up as well. And he is actually he is a very smart and dark guy. I think the comedy's dark, but I think it is also, he's just kind of cheerful too. So
He has a fun party vibe, and the way they do the monologue with Ian, and it's, you know, it's rare. They have comedy, but they also do a lot of talking and chatting. It's fun. The audience loves it. The audience is so pumped. That's why everyone's killing, you know? I mean, they're putting good comics on, but the audience is also really good. You can have good comics on a late night show and the audience sucks and they're not primed for stand-up, you know, and then you have great comics bombing sometimes.
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't think I've seen, since the pandemic ended, or excuse me, since they started having live audiences back, right?
Yeah.
I think they've had like at least 4 or 5 comics, 5 or 6 that I've seen, and everyone's killing, you know, with good material, you know?
Yep. And it's 5 or 6. He's doing one at least every month, I think.
I think more frequently. It seems more frequent.
It feels more frequent, but I didn't want to call it.
Yeah.
That it was, I don't want to get an email. It's actually, I've done some statistics and figured it out. So I have, so I went to Flappers just to pick up a set this week, and it was very nice. I got to work in the Yoo-Hoo.
Yes.
Enjoyed it, because I have a couple new bits. Very happy about those.
Yeah.
I'm actually writing a fair amount, which is kind of awesome, because it feels like, you know, you do the big album, you do the big thing, and then you're like, oh, I'm never going to be able to talk about anything. And then you realize that everything you've been talking about has spurs that you can go off on, and there's always new stuff. So that has been super fun for me. And but I also got to see Jimmy Pardo had his he does game shows, right? Sometimes.
Right.
And it's usually comics. So it was Irene 2, Kristen Studdard, and Blank Patch. And
did you do the live one at Flappers?
I watched the live one at Flappers.
Okay.
After my set. And Maria did a work in on that, and she did a work in the Yoo-Hoo.
Oh, cool.
Just to practice the James Corden set.
Sure.
You know, 4.5 minutes. And so, but it was so fun. Like, because there's a lot of prep for that Jimmy Pardo pop culture show. You actually have to write stuff, but then you ask Blank Patch to do it. So it's fine, because Blank Patch is literally a nonstop, you know,
his
machine.
He just thinks in jokes, you know?
He thinks in jokes. Yeah, he does think in jokes. And, you know, quite honestly, I was in a writing room with him once for 3 days, and and it was nonstop, and not all of it was gold, but there was plenty of gold there, right? I mean, just because it was so consistent. It was me, him, and Dave Anthony. And Dave Anthony, it's the only writer's room I've ever been in. And Dave Anthony spoke a lot less often.
Yeah.
But whenever he spoke, it was hilarious. So, and me, wasn't very good at it. Turns out it's a learned skill.
Well, I think it's also different if you're the only woman. In fact, it's very different. Even if it's if it's two men, even that you're friends with, it's different than if there's more women in the room. Always, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And I really do think. Well, we had an impossible task.
Yeah.
The three of us. It was Drew Carey's game show, that Price is Right business.
Yeah.
And he wanted the prizes to be funnier. He wanted sort of there to be riffing when the prizes came out. But it's always some sort of RV, which is always a meth lab joke. And they don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear that.
And also products give those, I think they donate those prizes, so they don't want too many jokes about the product.
Right.
It's a rich man trying to get to heaven through the
Ooh, Kilmartin quoting the Bible, ladies and gentlemen.
I think I misquoted it.
I think you got the gist. It
was an accident.
You got the gist. And the other thing that happened that was weird but interesting, because did you see the Cat Williams?
I
he had
a couple weeks ago.
Bomb threat? The bomb threat thing?
What? No. Was this recent?
I thought it was a couple of days ago in New York. Am I right? Was it old and it just popped up in my feed and there was a bomb threat at some show of his. I don't know if it was recent or not now.
Wow.
And so mid joke, he is told, and he's like, okay, let's clear the room. And he walked, which funniest thing, didn't know Cat Williams was doing stand-up again. Happy to hear it.
He's been out doing. I've seen him do some radio interviews. So, but it's weird because he has a reputation of being kind of crazy. But actually, that's probably the sanest action. And I know a lot of comics who would not have ended the show.
Right. It says CNN 313. So it must have just happened.
Wow. What club?
Nashville. So.
Zanies?
I think it'll
say. Cat Williams got to be doing some theater.
I think it was it's the Municipal Auditorium.
There you go. Yeah, it's got to be a theater or not.
That's why I don't do theaters, Jackie. The audience is too unhinged.
So the small theater that I am doing in Seattle this week, Friday, Saturday, Crocodile Theater, please come out, bring friends, bring strangers. But get vaxxed, be masked. So they sent me a thing via my agent saying, hey, is there anyone that you want to block from coming into the show?
What?
And
really?
Yeah, right. Do you have any restraining orders or stuff like that?
What?
I was like,
who's been working there?
Oh, well, I was like, this is terrifying and very forward thinking of you. But they were like, I mean, they're safety first kind of people, right? They're
right.
I don't know that it has anything to do with other people that have been working there, or if it was just me, or this is a new policy of theirs. But it was like, hey, we just want to make sure everybody's safe. And I'm like,
I mean, it is, if someone wanted to stalk you, you basically give them directions to your location every night on Twitter. You know what I mean?
True.
It is scary if you got someone like that.
I know this person had to stop doing live shows for a while and had to go in the back door to stuff because she had a stalker.
No.
Woman. Yeah, woman stalker, woman person. And they were completely available prior to that. They were like, I'll sleep in their living room, and do shows. So
that's scary.
Yeah. And so that's my exciting. You went to San Diego.
Why does the drive to San Diego feel longer than a drive to Phoenix? I don't understand.
It really does.
It is awful. And it could be just 3 hours, but it's awful. I don't understand it. And even the back, but okay, but the shows were wild.
Yeah.
But it's a fun, like, you should do them. You would have a good time. They're fun.
Okay.
They're in, they're at a resort, and they're connected resorts, like they're sister resorts. So you're staying in a resort. There's whatever problem you might have with an audience member. Guess what? You're at a resort, and it's really beautiful, and you have time to just lay around all day. And this is not, it's not a vacation I would take on purpose, a resort.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I easily fell into the life. The 20 hours I was exposed to it, right?
Right, because when did you went down on Friday? You did a show Friday?
It was a Thursday, Friday. So I went down on
weird.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the show was at, and the shows are like 7:38. They're nice and early, and there's just one. And the local comics were funny. So there were some really funny San Diego comics, and
That's
so that
neat.
was fun. And the audiences, almost 100% of them were San Diego residents, either, and some of them were staying at the resort. Like, you could vacation outside of the city you live in. But San Diego's so nice. Why would you? I'm like, yeah, I guess I get it. It's so beautiful here. You might as well just vacation here too. But there was hardly anyone from any place else, There was like one lady was like, I'm from Marina Del Rey. I'm like, wow, you really made a lifestyle change when you moved down here.
Was she just in town for supplies?
No, she had moved for both.
That's the old Minneapolis, Wisconsin joke. Sorry.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I love it when a city joke can be just tweaked a little bit and applied to a new city. That's comedy, you guys. But the shows were kind of wild, but I sort of invite that, but like I feel like I extend one invitation, and at these shows 100 people decided to join the party. You know what I mean? So they were kind of crazy, but it was still fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I started it. Okay, so I get it.
Right. I mean, that is mature of you.
I will tell you, there's a kind of woman that hates me always.
Right.
And it's the woman who's sitting with other women, and she's the funny one of the group.
Oh,
and she's kind of loud, right? And you see them every once in a while. Woo! Yep. Right?
Yep.
They party, and they're fun, and they do the, like, funny for them heckles and stuff like that. And they don't like it when a woman takes that crown away from them, right? So I have one of those there. And here's the other thing is, I think, like, male comics are afraid of that kind of woman, right? Because you want to call her a cunt immediately.
Right.
But a guy can't. It'll turn the audience. So they're always dancing around this authoritarian figure, this female authoritarian figure, and the woman, those kind of women know it.
Yeah.
And so they play with that, right? But when a woman's on stage, the dynamic changes completely, and they don't like that. They like the male comics better.
Yeah. So did you call her a cunt?
Probably.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't get in a fight. I just was like, she wanted attention, and I was looking elsewhere to other audience members and stuff like that. And she was one of those types that where even I was watching with the other comics, she was raising her hand when someone would ask a question or talk. She'd be like, she just wanted so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So much.
Yes.
What are you doing? I do. Those ladies usually like me because I'm usually their cock block sidekick in college, right? I'm the one who usually is holding their hair back while they throw up when we're all 22, and they are just like, oh, I'm not trying, and they spend some time going, I'm not trying to be prettier than you. I'm not trying to be funnier than you. I'm not trying to be this than you. Yeah. And when you're like, yeah, you kind of are, but I get it because you've had, 2 shots and a couple of beers and you're out in the world for the first time for a long time. So
a lot of people are out for the first time. And
yeah, they are.
There have been some wild road crowds, more so than usual, I think.
Where are you this week?
I'm I'm in Basalt, Colorado, which is
Really?
kind of near Aspen. It's a little mountain town, and it's a theater at this place. It's just Saturday night, and it's like 2 to 3 hour drive from the Denver airport.
Dude.
Yeah, it's not. It's even like it's a far drive from.
You're finding these weird little theaters,
No,
right?
Dave Rodriguez from Fort Collins hooked me up with West Bend and this one.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, this one they both paid this
Right.
plus, air and hotel, which is
Oh
fine.
God, that's fine.
That's fine. And I didn't, supplement with merch or anything, but
Right.
yeah. So that, and then I'm going to New York on Sunday the 20th. After that, the Saturday.
Oh, yep.
Or the 19th. So I'll be in New York for a couple days, and then I come back and I have a corporate in San Diego again on the Saturday, the following Saturday.
Bamford told me she just took a train to do the American.
Yes, that is an option, but then like when you're in a resort area, they're like these little isthmus or little islands or little itty bitty Floridas that are an offshoot. They're made from dredge and stuff. That's where a lot of these things are.
Okay.
And so you're not like walking distance from anything really. Like you're gonna have to lift to stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean I could have done that. I could have.
Maybe you'll do it for the corporate.
I won't. But no, it's I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of money. A train is a lot of money, and then you're whatever. I don't know, but it is beautiful. I did that a couple times when I went to Comic-Con with Conan. I took the train, and that was really nice. I liked it a lot.
It's later. Tell me how much the resorts paid. Oh, I think you did already, and it was just fine.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
Hold on,
but oh yeah, that's
and she wants you, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I want all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, because I put on my vision board that I wanted to work less and make more money, and that's fine. But San Diego is gorgeous, and a resort might be fun.
It is, and you can bring your dog. By the way, everyone had their dogs. You and Andy go down, and you can bring
with Gordy. Oh, okay.
Yes. And you walk him on the beach, show him the beach. Gordy will lose his mind. So will Andy. Show him the
beach. You grew up in the state, but you've never seen a beach before. Let's do this, Andy. And yeah, that's cool that you could bring the dog. It's because
and then they had
that would stay funny.
Yeah, they definitely. And they had an outdoor yoga class in the morning.
Did you go to that? Yeah.
Yes. It's as hard as you want it to be, and it was really nice to do it outdoors. And then I had lunch with my cousin who lives down there, and got the gossip on who's not vaxxed in my family. Unbelievable. So
unbelievable. Still. I did a joke the other I think a weekend ago. I was just like, it wasn't even a joke. I was just talking. Sometimes when you first get on stage, you're just sort of talking.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. And I was just talking about vaccines, and I was like, because I was going into my new mask bit, and some people in the front row were masked, and some people were not. And I was like, I think that it's cool if you want to still be masked and everything. And I have decided that I'm a hobbyist when it comes to masking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use it as I wish, but I'm not going to sweat. Other people's vaccine status, especially in a public, like in a store. Everyone has to go to a store.
Yeah.
I'll wear a mask in a store because the immunocompromised have to go to a store. Right? The elderly have to go to a store. A theater, sadly, I do not consider that, a stand-up comedy show. Though that's why I want to do more Zoom shows. But
people have to go to stand-up comedy shows, and if you don't believe that, why would they, Jackie?
Well,
it's important as food. Here's the thing. I think because because the club I'm working at called and said, well, it's what we're doing now is it's up to the artist if you want to mandate vaccines
Okay.
into the club. And I said, well, how's the staff feel? You know? And I guess no one there it's a huge pain in the ass. And if they have to change it every week because of who the headliner is, it's also
right. Then the audience is confused.
Yeah. So I said, all right, we don't have to. It's
Right.
also in a very vaxxed city. You know, it's
This is the Bayside one or the Bay?
No, I don't want to get into which club it is.
Oh, fair enough.
Like
Okay.
it's a highly vaxxed city, so it's less. But I think I'm going to continue to bring my air filter and plug it in on stage. That'll just
Okay.
be my second piece of luggage always, because you know, I am unmasked for up to an hour. You know, I still, I don't know. There's another variant. There's a subvariant of Omicron that is more contagious. It's making its way through a couple of countries right now, and no one seems to give a fuck about getting COVID anymore. They're just, you know, and it's still, you know, it's still the same problem. It's going to be for everybody. Whether if you're vaxxed and boosted, you get a mild case. That's still not good.
No.
Like there was this article that I just tweeted about people having heart problems for a full year after a mild case of COVID. You know, it's so.
You know
it's still a problem.
Yeah, you know the DC club that I just did. They were checking on the Thursday, and then on Friday they no longer had to check. So for a show he stopped checking, and I said. At first show, I said, "Are you not checking?" He said, "I can if you want, but we don't have to anymore." And I said, "I'd like it if you did." And so second show came, and he forgot. And so Saturday, I was like, "No, I guess we're over it. I guess we're not doing it anymore." And
Yeah.
it's this sort of lack of vigilance that'll kill us all. And that's fine, don't you think? I think at this point, it's like we can't Mad Eye Moody our ways through life. So
we can't what?
It's a Harry Potter reference. You haven't gotten to that book yet.
I won't.
Everybody, there was a big post on one of my Facebook threads, or one of my friends said, "You know what? If your kids want to read Harry Potter, that's great. Why don't you get them to read? But don't force them to. Don't encourage them to, because she's such a piece of shit sometimes. Tell them to read Terry Pratchett." And I was like, Terry Pratchett is silly and adorable, and it's super punny. So it's actually pretty good for kids. Like when it's sort of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you read it the right time, there's a window when you appreciate sarcasm as the smartest comedy in the world. And if you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy right in that golden spot, it will change your life. And weirdly enough, that lasted well into I think I was like 19 when I read Hitchhiker's Guide, which you would think would have been too late, but it wasn't.
I never read it.
It might be too late, but and Terry Pratchett, I waited way too long to read Terry Pratchett, because it's a lot of wordplay, and it's sword and sorcery, adventure kind of action adventure kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and it's super fun, but it took me like 6 books to really cumulatively.
Wait, you read 6 books before you liked the author?
Oh, I do it all the time. The Dresden Files. It took me 4. It's like it's a journey with an author getting better at writing. And
just give me the last book. Just give me your best shit, please. I don't want to go on a journey with you while you learn to make sentences.
It is. I'm listening with Andy as we drive to and from his mom's.
Yeah.
And we're on like the last Lois McMaster Bujold Vorkosigan book that I loved. There's 2 more, and I may listen to them with him, but quite honestly, they were not. I remember being irritated for some reason, but it's really good. It's super actiony. It's space opera, right? It's like Star Wars, and Andy, we have 2 more hours of this, and Andy's like, I may have to read it because he's got some game designer conference that he has to go to up in San Francisco. His mom called us late. We spent Monday driving up to Visalia. Got there at 2. She was in the hospital.
Oh no.
Yeah, she had just horrible shooting pains in her back. And with women, shooting pains in your back mean heart attack. And so at 11 p.m., she called us and she was like, I just had so much pain. And Andy's like, do you want us to come? And I was like, it'll take us 3 hours to get there. We can come, but you have to call the EMTs. You have to call 911.
Yeah.
And she's 15 minutes straight shot. She's right off the highway between Visalia and Exeter. So they were there in a minute because of shooting back pains in women means heart attack. So they picked her up. They took her there. We got there at 2 a.m. They wouldn't let us in because she didn't have a room. She was still in the ER. And at 4, they released her. And so we took her home. We crashed there.
Oh my God, that's an all-nighter.
It was an all-nighter. This isn't the year. This isn't the decade to be doing all-nighters.
No.
And so it took a good day to recover from it. And
is she gonna move down with you guys soon?
Yeah, we're working on it. She's gonna come in May and look at apartments.
Okay.
Yeah, because Andy's got a couple of weeks of intense work. I'm on the road off and on. We're trying to figure out how to do it. I'm trying to figure out how to go to Disneyland. It turns out you have to schedule it. You have to make reservations. And I don't want to go in the latter half of June to the beginning of September. So, and if I want to bring anybody with me, it's going to be thousands of dollars. So I have to start saving up for it.
Do you have a free Disneyland?
No.
I mean, of course it would cost thousands if you want to bring someone with you. What do you mean?
Right.
Okay.
I didn't know that it was thousands of dollars to go to Disneyland. Who knew?
Okay. All right.
Kyle probably knew because he's been saving up and people have like extra things.
I don't want to talk about Disneyland.
Fair.
And
Fair.
we're gonna stop doing it. I'm gonna tell you that I forgot that I did Tom Bergen's. Have you done that Irish?
It's outdoors, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I met the heiress, who hasn't contacted me in a while, but I'm sure we're still friends.
I love the hair flip.
My heiress friend.
Your heiress friend.
Who did you meet, Jackie?
Byron Bowers was there.
All right.
And that was fun.
He's the heir to comedy.
He is, and he's living in Baltimore now.
Oh, is he from Baltimore?
I don't think so. I think he's from Atlanta or Georgia or something.
Wow. What would lead you to Baltimore besides family, right?
I don't know.
He's so funny. It's Baltimore's win. You know?
It is Baltimore's win for sure. And the thing, it usually pays, good for in-town money. And then
Wait, that's the guy from Dancing with the Stars.
Right. That's an actor. But there were a couple other comics. You also get a free dinner, and I hadn't eaten, so I got dinner.
Oh.
And there was a classic moment when one of the comics, I was just sitting there eating my grilled cheese and tomato soup, which is one of the options.
Yeah.
Somebody else had the shepherd's pie. Somebody else got the chicken wings. You pick when you get a free food. You don't pick the lobster unless you're willing to pay for it. So this guy...
And it's not free. Were you not offered the lobster?
You were not offered the lobster.
Oh, yeah. When the club offers you free food, they take half of their menu off of the comedian's menu.
Or just the 2 top items, right?
Yeah.
So this guy wanted the steak.
Ah.
And it was $48.
Oh, my God.
And so they were like, that's actually not one of the things. And he was like, well, can I pay the extra whatever? He picked like the most expensive thing you could get. And then he offered the extra $10 or whatever, $15. And the bartender was like, sure. And then he ordered like a top shelf drink.
Yeah.
Because you got 2 drink tickets too.
Jesus.
He wanted to treat himself. Come on, man.
I was like, how did you learn how to do stand-up? That's not how the rest of us learned how to do stand-up.
I know, but how many comics like you and me just order a Diet Coke I'm glad there's
Me.
at least
This
one
guy?
comic
Hey, it's
getting
me.
scotch. Okay,
Right.
Please.
So yeah, he's getting the fancy, and it's funny too, is people are ordering old fashions, and old fashions are gross. That's what Nancy Gage used to drink.
What's in
Uh,
an old fashioned?
I can't remember.
It's
but,
like whiskey and Coke and something else.
Oh,
and a stack of sugar cubes.
sure.
It is very much Nancy Cation, 1978, in Wisconsin, and but my set went well. I got to do the new stuff. It was there. There was. It is a weird crowd though, because it is a little industry-y.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, or
that.
something. It could be. Sometimes their heiresses are there,
Yes.
and
it's
other
true. A lot of-
time.
yes,
yeah.
a lot of fast food industry there.
And what
Hmm.
else? What do you got? Where are
Oh,
we
I
at?
was-
Are we
We
at
actually, I
like
was
30?
just about to hit 30. I was just about to say
Okay.
30.
Well, let's take a quick break and then let's
Okay.
talk about our. Let's talk about
I
our
got more to
comic of
talk
the week.
about.
I know, like comic of the week though.
Yeah.
It
Oh.
was.
We're gonna take a break.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay. Our comic of the week is Ellen Sugarman.
You worked with her.
Yes, I did, and I worked with a couple of funny women in San Diego, and but I didn't work with her in San Diego. But Maria did, and I hung out with her in San Diego. She wasn't
that's awesome.
working that night.
Right. She
Yeah.
opened for Maria at the American Comedy Company, and Maria was like, has she been a comic of the week? Because she was a delight to work with all week.
Very funny,
So.
and she's from Boston originally. She started in Boston, so she's got it going on. She's
That's
bringing the
cool.
Boston heat to San Diego. San Diego needs a little Boston. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it
Well,
does.
Pretty nice, and you know what? I think it would lead you to just take the night off if you wanted to, instead of getting that angry Boston energy, angry that Steve Sweeney's getting a spot that you're not getting.
What's she's just on Instagram, right?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
What's her handle? It's Ellen Sugarman.
And then here.
617, which
there
is
we
the
go.
area
It was
code.
an area code.
Area
man.
code of Boston area code.
You know what? Yeah, a lot of people are loyal to their area codes.
Oh yeah.
Marcella is very loyal to the 209.
Modesto.
Yes.
Modesto.
Mhm. Well,
I had to cancel my my Boston Hartford Connecticut run because I had overbooked myself and I felt overwhelmed. But I am going back in June. I'm going to open for Brian Regan.
that's so cool.
On the East Coast. So I think it's the end of June, Medford, Connecticut, and then somewhere in New Hampshire, and then somewhere in Jersey. So
Wow, there's so many. Like when I first got the Bend gig, I thought it was Bend, Oregon, and then it slowly dawned on me. I was flying into Milwaukee, right? There's also a Medford, Oregon. I think Oregon is full of city names that were stolen from other states because, of course, Portland was taken from Maine.
right.
Yeah.
Everybody just kept going. There's a New Albany in Minnesota, I think, or Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, there's an Albany and Lake Oswego is not. Excuse me. Yeah, that's a Portland only, right? Or is there?
That feels very just one state. That feels very Native American. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, we're not bringing that one with us. So
Right. You know what I was thinking, and there's no science behind this, so I hate to sound like Joe Rogan. So just ignore me. But I was wondering if when we comics are talking, you remember when Omicron first came out? Jackie, roll back into the screen.
You told me to ignore you. That was fun.
Usually
for me.
you ignore me
that
while
was really, really fun for me.
Why don't you just read a book like you often do, or look at your iPhone while I'm talking? My heart.
Yeah,
Do you feel?
Do I feel?
Remember those videos people made of people talking, and you could see the aerosols like a spew, right?
Right.
You knew it was like a cloud around you,
Yeah.
and that's how you knew it was COVID. What if when we're talking on stage, we're creating a self-protective cloud of our own aerosols? Like we're almost protecting ourselves from the audience by putting out so many aerosols. What do you think, Jackie? Without any degree in any sort of
I have a degree in
scientific-
political science. And the word science is in it. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna need more studies. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Look it up, Kyle.
I don't even know how I do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Google
Listen up.
Laurie's
I'm
crazy
right.
theory.
Laurie's aerosol spit theory.
That's what I'm hoping, you know?
Mhm.
But let's see. My son and I watched some classic movies. We watched Dead Poets Society. And
Wow, we have a different definition of classics.
classic?
Yeah.
yeah,
Dead
it's
Poets
an
Society.
old movie.
That's
It's
an
from
old
like
movie.
the 80s.
Right, which is 20 years, which is what a classic car is. So keep
It's
going.
40 years, Jackie.
We'll stand by it. Oh, it is 40 years. Jesus. We are not young. We are plugging along here. Yeah.
We're plugging along. And that was really good. There was I always forget, and then like, oh fuck, there's a suicide. I don't want to show my son a suicide, but we did talk about
He's
it, you know.
15. Yeah.
And I was like,
15
listen,
versus, yeah, that's
obviously,
which is good. Yeah.
you always come to me. There's nothing is so bad. Nothing's so bad that you have to, and it always fades. And when you're 50, you barely remember it, right? And then we watched Meatballs. Meatballs has a couple of problematic scenes, but it was still funny. But
You are incorrect. I have never enjoyed Meatballs. Meatballs
what do
was
you mean?
made for me.
It just doesn't matter. Seeing you've never found that funny. Spazz, you don't think Spazz was funny?
It
His
just
dad
doesn't
shows up with
matter.
the glasses that are taped the same way as Spazz. That's not funny to you?
That's good writing. I'm not saying it isn't, but not everything that was written correct. A lot of pounding on this episode. So the I will say that Bill
Murray.
he's super charming, so he's always funny and everything. But there was that. Are you going to show him Porky's next? Here, I would worry about 16 kids.
There is a huge difference between Meatballs
Yes.
and Porky's.
There
And
very
if you don't
much is.
understand that, this podcast is over.
If you could storm out, that'd be great. But here's a weird thing. I showed Caitlin, the kid that I was babysitting for. She was probably 12 or 13, and at that point, I feel like I was more just paid to drive her around.
Right.
But I showed her 16 Candles.
I watched that one with
and
you.
Well, the VHS, and it was a VHS because it was in like 2000 or 2001.
Okay.
It wasn't from cable. It hadn't been cut, and there's boobs. There's a nude scene in it, and
like a teen's boobs?
yeah, teen shower. One of the you remember the fancy blonde?
No.
She was a fancy blonde.
There's always a fancy blonde in one of
What?
those.
There's always a fancy blonde in those John Hughes movies, and they're her boobs supposedly, and so it's the one that he woke up with in the next that he came to at the end of the movie.
I don't
The guy who
remember.
held up the panties, whatever. There's a lot of dumb movies from the early 80s, you guys. Really no.
Like Fast Times was such a funny movie to me, but I can't sit with my son during half those Phoebe Cates scenes, you know?
Yeah.
There's only
That's
one
much.
Phoebe Cates scene in the movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Expert weighed in. Okay.
Now Jennifer
thanks,
Jason
guys.
Leigh naked throughout it, so that's the one to be a problem with.
Oh. Yeah.
And there's so many better movies than
Fast
know,
Times
all
is
of
pretty
those.
good.
He's there a lot of the stuff he watches online are parodies or references previous comedies, you know?
Oh,
Like-
so you thought you'd give them some origin stories?
Yeah, like we
Yeah.
watched A Few Good Men, you know, just You Can't Handle the Truth. We just watched that last night. And it's so Sorkin, it's hilarious. And God dang, it's so dismissive of Demi Moore's character and you know, that sort of cocky being a sexist dick guy that, you know, gets redeemed slightly. It's like, ugh, I can't believe I sat through that shit. But we all did.
We all did.
It was still good, and Nicholson was incredible, of course, and the scene with him and Tom Cruise, the courtroom scene is just great. But there's like, my son didn't know the Curb Your Enthusiasm scene came from Curb. You know, like I was like, oh, this is where it's from. And that's not even that old. So there's a lot of jokes he doesn't understand the original reference from. So sometimes we watch that stuff. Carpe
Right.
Diem, you know.
Yep.
A lot of animation, a lot of cartoons reference, stuff like that. You know, they do tons of pop culture references.
Yeah.
that he and his generation actually don't get, even though they're laughing at it, you know?
Right. Right. And well, there's references like I haven't seen. There's a thousand. There's so much content
Yeah.
that there's no way to get all of that stuff. Like I it's almost enough to get where it came from, right? Without having to watch it all. And that's fine. I think there is and there's plenty of like there's so much music too. Like there are people who are like I have to introduce my kid to the music from the beginning, and you're like you're doomed.
Yeah.
You're doomed. And you're like I need to introduce my kid to a lot of I would love because you would like him to get all that stuff.
You know what? It's weird. Like, I don't introduce my kid to a lot of stuff.
He introduces you to a lot of stuff.
What? Yeah, he does. He actually does, you know?
Yeah.
But I know there's like, I'm sure Blaine Capatch's kid has a musical knowledge that's unparalleled, right? And
Brian
Carter's kid probably has a comedy knowledge that's unparalleled. I haven't like, I kind of like, you find your thing, and if if you're interested in mine, you can come on over to it. But I realize I haven't I should have been doing that. I don't know. Maybe with my next kid. Maybe with my grandchild. But I do know that like when I pushed swimming on my son, which I didn't do as much as I even wanted to, when I saw that he had the goods physically, part of me is like, I should have, Jackie,
Did you
I'm
see
talking.
Kyle and I both
Sorry, that
flinched.
was automatic.
Sorry, it doesn't have anything to do with you. You
No.
could have said
Height.
anything. You're talking the chops, swimming
Height
chops.
and long arms, long
Yep.
legs. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but then he had scoliosis, right? And the doctor's like, swimming's a great way to correct it. He had just a teeny bit. And so I made him swim like 1,000 a day when he was like in 3rd and 4th grade, 40 laps a day, 5th grade. And he started to hate it.
Shockingly,
Understandably.
Tiger Woods' dad. Yeah. 40
But his
laps.
fucking back is fixed. It's back.
Yeah.
It's straight now. Okay. So
Okay.
I stand by that, but I understand why he's like, I never want to do swimming again. But then he found water polo, and now he's on the swim team because water polo just carries over, and he's kind of, and I don't want to say this loudly, kind of starting to like swimming.
He's kind
a
of
little.
You're like it's right there. Like
Yeah, but I don't.
The first. You try not to be too encouraged because he is 15. So you don't want him to stop out of spite, out of teen spite.
Right. And I don't want, so I kind of like with comedy, I don't really, like he'll find his own comedy. Yeah. It's weird. Like to him, if he even knows who Dave Chappelle is, Dave's like a 50-year-old. He's like his mom's age.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he'll find his own, whoever he finds. I don't know.
Yeah. There'll be some 22-year-old that'll wow him in some way, shape, or form, and so be it.
But he's not like a comedy fan. He's it's all anime, and he came to that on his own, and he's like an expert on anime. His Twitter is full of authoritative opinions on anime. He sounds 40 talking about anime.
Well, I mean, the thing is once you get it, like it's almost like it's the same thing. Like there was a 7-year-old I knew who was really into trains. Yeah. And you couldn't talk to him about trains where he didn't know everything. And
right.
And it's nice to know everything. So who am I and what do I care? I don't have a horse in the train race. I'm willing to give that to a 7-year-old.
If you did, you would lose, honestly.
I would lose because yeah. It's so yesterday I went to Brandy Posey's birthday party.
I did not. I had a long drive from San Diego.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I thought it would be a lot breezier than it was.
Right. Well, coming back is going to be just as big of a nightmare.
Awful.
And I assumed that I would stay 45 to 47 minutes. Let me just say this. I lasted 1 hour, 25 minutes.
It was amazing.
For a party? That's great.
Yeah. Virginia Jones came up to me twice in that hour 45 to say, "You're doing it, Jackie," and it was very sweet.
Do you remember what I shouted when I saw you?
Right,
You're in a
Kyle was-
place and it's not one of our 4 places.
right, exactly. So it was, Brandy is house sitting,
Okay.
and this person, you
Yes.
cannot be. You can be if you want to be, but I always think I can't be jealous of her because she is incredibly talented on very many different levels. But it does crack me up that she can't do anything where someone isn't like, and then here's 2 Scrooge McDuck's piles of money. Because everything she does
Highly successful.
Yeah.
financially as well as anything else, right?
Right.
And so her house is gorgeous, like
Oh,
ridiculous.
Brandy was house sitting.
House sitting, yes, and had a party, and it was okayed to have that party.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would like some details.
Yeah.
Can you get details right now?
It's
How many
it's
bathrooms?
up in the hills. It's overlooking the valley, but it's right off of Ventura.
Oh my God. How
So
many bathrooms?
at least 2, because I had to use a second bathroom. I don't
Bathtub?
know.
Is there a tub?
There's a pool, like a pool with a, but you wouldn't have liked it because it was kidney shaped.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And right.
I'm glad I didn't go.
But get this, the pool overlooks the valley.
Yeah.
God.
And the other way overlooks something else amazing.
The other half
the
of
whole,
the valley.
Right, the other half of the valley. The whole thing is super gorgeous and super beautiful. And so as I was leaving so I get into my 2006 Corolla.
Yeah.
And I turn around and start driving down and
Right.
hiking up this giant hill, because it's in the Hollywood Hills,
Yeah.
is to go back, is an older couple, older than us, either really good looking 70s or amazing looking 80s.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
That's what I'm going for.
Right. And so they wave and I wave back, and the guy goes, "Hey, excuse me." And I said, "Yeah." And the woman goes, "Where's the party?" And I was like, "Snitches get stitches. Don't dark." And the thing is Brandy is having the nicest part. She's playing ska softly.
Yeah.
Like it isn't even a loud music party. It's just, but there are probably 20 people there or whatever.
Yeah.
And but everybody's complete. And so I said, "It's going to be over at 7. It was okayed." Like I made it weird.
Yeah.
And they were so funny because they're like, "No, we're not mad. We're not going to do anything." And the woman goes, "I'm maybe crash it." And I was like, "I can't remember." And I drove off.
I thought you were going to tell me they were like Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. They turned out to be famous or something. Although they're not in the
and how would I know?
Good point.
It's I can't ever remember what anyone looks like, but it was a lovely party, and I enjoyed it. And there were dogs, and Brandy had put on because she's also dog sitting, and she had put on the different personalities of the 3 dogs. There was a puppy that was about a year old who would eat anything. There was a dog that was a little older that would definitely eat anything if you left it unguarded.
Yeah.
And then there was an older dog that was grumpy, so leave him alone. So there you go.
Wow, that sounds cool. I wish I by the time I got even near the house, because then I had a 7:00 show at Flappers. I was like, I could barely stay awake. I don't know what's happening to me. I used to do 12-hour drives. No problem.
Oh yeah. And I used to be proud of the fact that I could go 5 hours before I even had to stop.
Yes, didn't need to pee, anything. Didn't get sleepy. I had to take a nap. Drove an hour and a half down. I went over to Best Buy and took a nap.
Oh my God. Right, you just chilled out for a second.
Who is this person?
I don't know who that person is. All I know is that I did a TikTok thing where I was at the gas station. Then I found myself saying, "How much is the gas?" And then I looked into the camera and I was like, "I'm not going to tell you because I got to buy it anyway." We all know it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And in California, because our gas is better than everywhere else in the country.
It is?
It is. It's
Why?
cleaner. It's
How do you
the
know?
emissions. because it is the science on it. Did I not tell you that in my degree the word science is involved? Political science.
Yeah, but
you can double check.
Aren't there nationwide standards?
No, there are nationwide standards, but then state-wise.
If California sets a standard, the other states go with it because California is so huge. Companies don't go, well, we'll make a different gas for Idaho, you know?
But California is big enough that they do make a different gas for California.
Really?
And yeah, so our emissions are a lot. The EPA rules are a lot more stringent here. Whatever the state EPA is.
EPA is national.
No, the state EPA. I just said that.
Jackie, is this going to turn?
This is true. This is a true thing.
Bathtub shower debacle from last week, where you had to apologize. Humiliating yourself.
Wow, I don't remember it quite so epic, but I'm glad that you're taking it as a big win. But no, you could look this up. It is because the first $1.37 of every gallon that we pay for, I think it's $1.27 or $1.37, is taxes. Right. And so let's take a break and not talk about gasoline anymore. What else? Let's see. I'm going to Seattle. I'm looking forward to it. Humboldt County, the Arcata gig is in the next week after that. And I just found out that the guy who runs the Savage Henry Comedy Club up in Arcata, California, he books the flight. So I don't have to sweat it. Okay. I don't have to figure it out. Then because he knows better, he does it every week.
Okay, good.
I'm psyched. And I also realized in DC when I did DC that my fan base are the people who still carry business cards. Those are all of my topics.
I'm trying to buy a plane ticket to Toronto.
Are you doing the Ian Atlas gig or are you doing
I'm doing
JFL?
JFL, and it's kind of like I'm glad I'm doing it and I need the money, but it's coming during a time where there's like 3 swim meets and 2 of them are like the league championships. I'm like, oh, I don't want to miss that stuff, but oh well. I also don't want to miss a mortgage payment. But it's hard to fly to Toronto without a stop someplace, you know, a long one.
It doesn't. Yeah, Detroit,
how do
Minneapolis
Canadians do this all the time? What do they do? These Canadians. I mean, it's just they're always stopping in Detroit or, you know, New York, but there's hardly any nonstops from LAX. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you would think.
Well, all right, we've hit. Let me cross that one off.
Well, what you did is you just reminded me because you had to cancel Moon Tower. Is that I'm still going to Moon Tower, and instead of us doing a live Jackie and Laurie, I'm doing a live Dork Forest.
Yeah.
But I don't have a guest, so I did because in DC, I sent the copy of the live Dork Forest I did in DC to Patrick Brady, who is my audio guy, and he was like, you might want to do a special intro for this one so that at least people know what's about to happen. And I said, well, I put it in the notes. He was like, you might want to do a special intro for this one. And I was like, fair enough. Because the audio to the Dork Forest that was live. So I have to remember how to do live Dork Forests.
So I see. Okay. Oh, by the way, I went to go put up the ticket link for our Planet of the Tapes gig. You know how the show's billed?
No.
Jackie Cation with, in a much smaller font.
Oh, no.
Laurie Kilmartin. You want a table pound? There you go.
Well, why don't you do more booking of the 2 of us, and then you'll get top billing. I don't know what to tell you. I have no idea. I have no idea why it happened, but please feel free to bring me with you the next time you do West Bend.
You would crush there, of course.
Right. I should get that info from you because it's close enough to my family that I could do it. So it'd be lovely.
Me doing West Bend and you not doing it is much like you doing Northern California and me not doing it.
Right.
A travesty.
The injustice. It rings true. Yeah, I don't have anything booked for months. And granted, I did put on my vision board that I want to work less out of town and make more money when I go, but that doesn't mean not work.
It's
I
hard.
I booked Minneapolis. I booked Minneapolis in July.
That's good.
I brought my I'll be bringing my magic back to Acme.
I want another writing gig, man. I am working.
Oh,
with,
look who's back! Yeah,
I'm still working with this guy in our pilot, and we finally did a practice pitch meeting to his manager, and his manager really liked it. And then there's other stuff where we felt it being long and flat and stuff like that. It's just like comedy. It's so good to get it in front of an audience where you're like, I gotta drop that immediately, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
good.
that was kind of like and he thought this will sell. You guys just need to tweak a few things, and I was like, that'd be amazing. Anyway, we're gonna work on that, this, I it's weird. I had told Bruce, I'm like, even if it's a writing job in New York, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll work and then fly back on the weekends and stuff. And, that's cool. That's amazing. That news you put in there. But and then I'm like, I just can't be away from my kid. Even if I'm like unemployed for the next 3 years, I don't want to miss the next 3 years of his life here. Of his life.
Right. So you're back to doing
college.
Yeah, you're doing the road again, like you were you wanted to do, but the thing is it is hard, because he's in a formative time, which is every child's entire childhood.
Yeah.
And but I think, could you maybe get a writing job on that show?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's, if it depends, there aren't a lot of writing jobs, and there's at least 10 other Conan writers trying to get the same job I am, much less everybody else that wants a writing job,
Right.
So it's not, there's
you might get the freak show vote for being a woman.
Well, Jackie, it's not, being a woman isn't as much of a freak show anymore as it used to be.
That is both positive and a negative, because when we were coming up, it was often it was a one-trick pony,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how I got my writing job. Both
initially, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, you keep the job. Yeah, if you get in from some freak show vote, that's fine. You still have to keep that job. And
I think people would prefer diversity than freak show, but I'm not here to word police.
You are specifically here to word police, and you are the regulatory committee of all words. So
we'll see. There's a ton of great comedy writers that are unemployed. If you just look at people's Twitter, it's like there's so many fucking funny writers.
Yeah, there's plenty of writers.
Comedy writers that there's a lot of competition. So we'll see. I don't know. I hope so.
Yep.
That's really cool. I want to hear about that. I hope we sell our show. I would love it.
Oh, the St. Louis. Oh, that show.
The show that I'm working on with this guy. That would be incredible.
I've been distracted by Kyle typing the word, "You're at an hour."
Oh, okay. Bye.